If you're a driven, active person who wants to reach and pursue a higher quality life with some ambition, then guess what? This podcast is for you. This is the Driven Athlete Podcast. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dr. Kyle. Welcome back. Driven Athlete Podcast. We got the guy, Blake Baynham, back with us from The Fountain.
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming back.
Of course. Thanks for having me back.
I know you're a busy dude. You're involved with Hugh in West Palm, The Fountain, West Palm Beach, family, kids.
All going nuts.
So, yeah, I was going to say, how's that going?
It's been incredibly challenging, to say the least. It's just per usual, put too much on my plate, but we're working to kind of get that worked out and get into a calm phase of our life. Yeah.
I feel like I'm similar, man. Like I find myself like, I could do that. Yep. I got it. Like I'm a yes man. Like, let's get it. You know, we can do that. And I'm like, why did I do all this?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I saw a post this morning. It was like, what it said? It says something along the lines of if you're not on target, you don't have a mission, like opportunity or distractions present themselves as opportunities. And I'm like, for me, that's been a big shift. I think in the last 18 months for me is like stuff's popped up, but I've recognized it as being, this is a distraction. It's shiny object syndrome. Sounds great. Looks awesome. I need to stay the course.
The woman in the red dress for sure.
Yeah.
And what I've heard from people and mentors and stuff, they're like, as you get more involved and build a network and you're getting, helping a lot of people and successful, right? It's like things are working. This is cool. The shiny object or the woman in the red dress gets more attractive.
Yeah.
And disguises itself as like a great opportunity, but it's still like a distraction. And like, it just becomes more tempting, unfortunately, to like dive into that.
And you hurt the thing that you should be
saying. Yeah. Cause you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
You follow Ryan Holiday with author and stoicism and stuff. I'm a huge fan, but he always like, he was like, I have no written on my whiteboard on my desk. And then next to that no, I have my kids' photos. So if I say yes to something, that's what I'm saying no to, is my kids and my family, like the things that are important. And I'm like, that makes total sense.
Yeah. And I've made that mistake, man. And I've talked about it with my wife a bunch and, had a lot of like demons I had to face and regret for decisions I made because it was, in the moment, you're not like consciously making decisions like, hey,
I can't wait to make a bad decision.
Yeah. I'm gonna, sacrifice my family for this. It's just like, you think you're doing what the best thing is at the moment and come to find out when you're neck deep in it, you're like, wow, this was not it.
Not a deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But we do our best and we continue to make, adjustments and tweak and make the steps in the right direction.
Yeah, totally.
That's all we can do.
And with the Fountain, right? Yeah. Tell everybody again, remind people, the Fountain in West Palm, it's 95 in Okeechobee in that Orange Theory and Bolay Plaza, right?
Yep.
But yeah, tell everybody what it is and what y'all do.
Yeah. So we're an anti-aging clinic. We're still brand new. We're just past our 1 year mark. We're really getting ready to shift gears. So originally it's always been focused very much hormone therapy, medical weight loss has kind of been the foundation of what we do. But we're really getting ready to add a whole new component to it, which we'll dive in later. So we're going to start doing a lot of testing, a lot of diagnostics, because that seems to be from a business side, like what people are interested in, right? Like what gets people in the door. They want to know what's going on with their body. They want to know from a imaging standpoint, from a DNA standpoint, from blood work standpoint. Yeah. So up until this point, we've really only offered the blood work, a really comprehensive blood work panel, which tells us a lot, but we realized we were missing out on an opportunity to give people a lot more information and equip them with the tools to really make some profound changes with their lives. Like, when I got into this, I kind of thought of HRT as like, all right, this is kind of the end game. This is like what we're going to provide with people is really going to help. And it really does. But after being in it for a year and seeing the other stuff that's out there, I'm like, wait, we're scratching the surface here. Yeah, 100%. Like there's so much more opportunity out there. So,
with more and part of that, like you're saying, the comprehensive approach is the imaging, the full body MRI opportunities, and then it gives more information so that you can take purposeful, direct action of what to do.
Yeah, and so the goal is to again provide people with the information, but then also provide them with a plan. Like you can go to a lot of different diagnostic centers for anything. And a lot of times they'll deliver you the results and they're like, good luck, go find somebody to help you with this. Like we already have a protocol in place for our core competencies to provide people with solutions in the areas that we'll talk about today. But the areas that maybe aren't our specialty, right? Like cardiovascular issues. Like we don't have a heart doctor, cardiovascular doctor on staff. So we're going to refer it up. We have a great network of people that we're going to work with. And so it's like, it's a very handhold process for our clients, not just, hey, come get this test and get a report in your, email a week later and good luck figuring out what's going on.
Right. Yeah, totally. What are some of the other course of action that y'all recommend and provide?
So the things that we're going to really be looking at, I guess can we start with the diagnostics? Because that'll kind of
lead into
segue into how we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
the diagnostics, my partner's in imaging, and MRI. Traditionally has done just traditional orthopedic. You hurt your knee, go see a doctor. Like, hey, you need an MRI.
Yeah.
Go get the MRI done. There is new technology that's come out that allows us to perform a full body MRI. It's going to scan for, of course, orthopedic issues, top to bottom, looking at cancer screening as well. So it can detect any growth larger than 0.5 centimeter, cardiovascular health, neurological health as well, brain scan. So it's going to give you a real comprehensive look at all your organs and tell you hey, you're from an imaging standpoint, you're in good shape, or, hey, there's this issue we got to deal with, et cetera. So that's one big component. The second component is going to be the genetic testing. So 2 pieces of genetic testing are genes. They are what they are. It's this report, and we'll dive into it in more detail, but this report tells us, how many, all the different areas that we're genetically predisposed to certain conditions. So there's different neurological conditions, different, food and nutrition, or different types of exercise. Yeah. A lot of different types of information we're getting there. The other component of the DNA testing is epigenetic. So that refers to our biological age. How old are you today? How old does your body think it is, or how is your body acting? So I'm 38. If I go in and, my biological age comes back as 50, 12 years closer to the grave than I should be. That's something we need to take a look at. Right?
Yeah, totally.
So that's the 2 areas. And then we're already doing the blood work. And so again, blood work's really looking at hormones, vitamin deficiencies, where can we supplement? But that's a great snapshot of today. So in all of this, we have imaging of how we look today, what's going on with our body. We have blood work looking internally, how we're looking today. We have the epigenetic testing, which tells us our biological age. And that's not a day-to-day thing, but it's hey, where are we at? How fast are we aging? That's another part of the report it gives back. It's what's your pace of aging? And so that literally tells you on average, we should be aging 1 year per year. If I'm aging 1.3 years per year,
yeah, that's interesting.
Aging at a faster pace. And so that test is cool because you can do that every, if you're taking steps to try to remedy it, every 6-12 months, retake it and you will see it adjust. And they have what is it? They have these anti-aging Olympics where people literally in contests to try to see how low they can get it. And there's some guy, I can't remember his name. He spends $2 million a year on all this regenerative medicine and anti-aging stuff.
God.
It's obviously got buku bucks. But he got it down to 0.65.
Really?
Yeah. So he's aging I think it was 1 year, every 19 months he ages a year, which is pretty cool. I was if you got the money, that's a good thing to spend it on, right?
So, and he's just doing all that stuff?
Yeah. So he's doing a bunch of regenerative medicine. I'm sure a ton of supplementation, IVs. I mean, there's 1,000 different routes you can take, but I imagine it's mostly regenerative medicine based. So stem cells, exosomes, that kind of stuff. So from a diagnostic standpoint, people can come in if they're I just want to look at this area, right? They can come in to just check out one area, but we'll offer great packages and stuff where people can come in and really get just the most comprehensive look they can at all these areas. There's no other facility, definitely not in Florida. We don't think in the country that does full body MRI, genetic testing, blood work, all on the same roof. Nonetheless, give their patients, solutions and how to move forward.
Action plans.
Yeah, exactly.
And y'all are building that out right now. The imaging areas of your facility.
Eyeball deep in construction.
Yeah,
it's been a challenge, I'd say.
Macri, right? He's doing your thing.
So he did our original construction, but we're doing, because of the MRI requires a lot of specialty trades.
Lead, right?
Yeah, lead wall. So there's actually, the x-ray room is right next to me. So I was
it's a little extra lead.
I'll check the plans. We got some lead there, right? I'm literally gonna have to have a radiation monitor there to make sure I'm not getting blasted. It should be fine with a lead wall, but for safety precaution, I'm I'm gonna leave this here on my desk, see what we're getting.
Turn into Marie Curie from the 1800s and get dive radiation. You know that scientist Marie Curie?
Yeah. We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's why are you glowing green? You're glowing in the dark.
Not worth it. So between That, and then the MRI itself requires, special walling as well. So it's just Chris did fantastic with our space. Love him. But yeah, my partner brought in their team that does it. They've done 100 of them and they can bang them out pretty quick. So
cool. So, and how many, so what's that look like? How many x-ray machines for MRI?
So we completely gutted the back half of our space. So we previously had, 3 offices, 3 treatment rooms, bathroom, break room in the back of our space. The 3 treatment rooms, bathroom and break room are gone. We took over the space next door. So knocking down the wall in the back there, that's all, the back area is all going to be MRI because that machine's huge. It's I didn't realize it's 16,000 pounds, that thing.
Wow.
So they have to cut a big, probably the size of that entire wall behind you, cut out of the back wall to bring it in because they can't assemble it on site. They had to pour 3 feet of slab underneath it, cut through the existing slab, or sorry, it was 18 inches because it's currently 6 inches. They had to cut through it, kind of dig down, rebar, dump 3 feet or another 18 inches of slab underneath it.
Wow.
Just to hold the machine and make sure it's not vibrating and stuff. So it's
totally.
It's a big project. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's kind of a lot going on. My God.
They're cutting through our wall next week to make access from the front. So it's disrupting business a little bit.
Wow. So where are we at? What's the status then right now?
Yeah. So the genetic testing, we're starting October 1st. So we got all our kits in. We're getting ready to start rolling that out. I started marketing a little bit on Instagram, got some people signed up, ready to go. And then the build out, it's really dependent on the machine. The machines take forever. So the machine should get there early November. So they got to set it up, ACA inspections, all that fun stuff.
Of course.
So we're hoping that after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Early. Somewhere before the holidays. December.
December. Yeah. Get going kind of before season really gets nuts. Yeah. Get our feet underneath us and then,
that's time. Great. Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. Especially with because orthopedic stuff, and the stuff that we see, getting more information is always gonna be helpful, and it helps bring a little closure of what's going on, why is this hurting,
Yeah.
And it's super interesting. We get a lot of people that back pain, neck pain, shoulder, hip, all that stuff. And they get MRI and they're look at this report. It's only just, this is all it is. It's just saying this, what the heck? And I'm there's not really much remarkable shown here.
Yeah.
It's I'm hey, high five. This is great actually.
Yeah.
Because it means nothing super abnormal is going on, not an anomaly, just some mild tendinosis of your supraspinatus or mild degenerative changes in your knee, right? Great. That means we can take action. Versus would you want to have a bunch of abnormalities found in MRI? Of course not, right?
No.
But anyway, so it's just really cool. Getting more information can help bring closure. And for the people we see, they usually appreciate that.
It's funny. I get that kind of that reaction from people when we tell them what we're doing. They're either, oh, I want to know, or I'm not sure I want to know.
Yeah.
Well, what do I do? I'm well, if it's there regardless if you know or not. So it's better to know and have an action plan,
Yeah. I just want to know what's going on. I want to see it, right?
Yeah.
It's hey, totally, And then definitely some people are I don't even want to, nope, let's just take action here and I'm going to progress and get better. I'm okay, we'll take that, we're good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure we'll be sending some people to get some imaging at some point.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So then, all right, so we got a comprehensive preventative wellness check. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a lot of stuff you were just.
So that really is everything.
Yeah,
so that's kind
general.
of how we're we haven't branded it yet, but that's what we're talking about. It's literally the visual, right? The MRI, genetic testing, blood work. It's you have just, I'm not sure what else there is.
Yeah.
There's some other testing you can do pharmacological to see how you interact with drugs. There's gut microbiome testing you can do as well.
Nutritional sensitivities.
Methylation, cancer, I forget the exact name of the testing for cancer predispositions, but that stuff's a little bit more specific. But from a broad general health, what am I predisposed to? Where am I good? Where can I improve?
Yeah.
That's going to
biological age.
Yeah. It's going to cover a lot of stuff.
What blood work stuff do y'all find abnormalities most often?
The usual stuff, right? Thyroid function. A lot of times we'll find vitamin deficiencies. And again, we're not acting as a primary care physician. So usually they've been in and done blood work. And if there's a pre-existing issue like thyroid, they're managing it. Like myself, I have thyroid issues. So same thing. But we're looking at hormones. That's kind of our specialty, right? So looking at hormone panel, seeing males and females, how everything looks, if they're out of balance, take into consideration, how old are they, planning on having kids, what's best treatment course from there. And, usually people come in, they're I don't feel the way I did, mid 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, I don't feel the way I did in my late 20s. Like, yeah.
Why? Why do I feel like crap?
Yeah. So blood work's the first place we look.
We have, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people within our networks and stuff that say the same thing, that they get people that approach them and are like, I'm mid 30s, I'm early 40s, and all my imaging seems to be somewhat normalized, but why do I feel so crappy, right? Like, why do I feel so not healthy, right? Not vibrant. I'm low in energy.
Yeah.
Like WTF, like what's going on, right? So it's just a really common thing that I've heard from a lot of the other practitioners that I've networked with that say that with their patients. And I imagine taking action, right? Like you were saying. And with that being said, you mentioned supplements, right? What kind of supplements do y'all usually recommend to people?
So usually kind of the basics, right? And we're gonna, that's a area that right now we're just kind of sending them out like, hey, you can get this stuff over the counter. Eventually we'll have our own brand of supplements and things that we're going to offer. But for now it's, kind of the basics, the multivitamins, different vitamins that they're missing out on, usually liver support, things to help with metabolism. So if there's just certain markers that are showing up that are contributing to them not being able to lose weight, we're going back in and saying, hey, this could help. Yeah. And I think the big thing when people come in, and it's important for them to understand, important for us to communicate, is it's not a one size fits all. And so while this may work for Kyle, I present the same issue, this may not work for Blake. And so it's a refinement process. And so the people that come in and they're looking for a quick fix, that are looking for, a lot of times we nail it or pretty close to nail it right out of the gate. But it's like the people that come in with a long-term approach of like, I want to change my lifestyle and manage my health better long-term. Those are the people we can really help, because they don't do it for 2 months. Like, oh, I didn't have results, and give up. It's like, you gotta refine it. Like,
I've dive in.
I've been doing, HRT and peptides for 7 years now. And I'm every 3 to 6 months, I'm kind of like refining it. I kind of look and see like, hey, how's my blood work looking? Where can I improve? What can I do? And that's the best way to approach it. Because if you go in and try to do 15 things at once right out of the gate, like, one, you're not going to stick with all of it. Right. And so you don't know what's working either. Yeah. But everybody wants that quick fix.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's like fitness, like, because we definitely seen this a lot too, like in our practice, people that, they get hurt. Like, they just do too much too quickly. Yeah. There's this big flash of intensity for 2 to 6 weeks. And then they were like, my shoulder's messed up on my back or whatever. And they just like hit the ground, hit it hard, Yeah. I'm like, dude, let's take the slow route, a little more progressed and purposeful. And yeah, it's just, I totally agree, Yeah. Like, there's, with altering nutrition, taking, advantage of all these comprehensive treatments y'all can do, or diagnostics that y'all can do, taking action on that stuff, fitness, and mental health, totally. Like, it's a process for like a long, long time, and hitting it too hard at the beginning is very often like not a great recipe, because you get burnt out. And if you don't see the results quickly like you want to, it just creates more. It's not reinforcing the long-term benefits, Yeah,
and that's something cool though with hormone therapy specifically. And I'm bringing it up because I have this conversation with almost everybody I talk to. And I'm like, that's the one thing that I think makes it super, not just effective, but people like stick with it, is that they see results pretty quickly.
That's awesome.
And the things that they're, whether it's sleep, energy levels, their physical fitness, like within the first month, like they're seeing a change. And so that, again, as much as I don't want to buy into like the instant, gratification lifestyle, like it's a nice thing that, hey, this is something that we provide that
you do see results pretty quick.
And so people are usually like, okay, this is working. I'll stick it out.
Yeah. What else do they usually say? Like, I just feel better, more energy.
Yeah.
Getting better sleep.
Better sleep quality, ton of energy, good motivation. They see results in the gym. Like, I'm sure you remember, right? I think I've got a few years on you, but early to mid 20s, like, you go to the gym for 2 weeks, it's like, oh, I see a difference. Yeah. And now I'm creeping on 40. It's like without HRT, and then a ton of people coming in, like they go for 3-4 months. I haven't seen a difference. Yeah. Like it's your hormones are out of whack, man.
Yeah, totally. I'm 35, so I'm not quite.
Not too far behind.
I'm not over the midway. I'm not quite yet over the midway of the 30s. But no, I get soreness. Like when I was in college, high school, like working out, right? Like my DOMs, my muscle soreness, if I did a bunch of squats or bench, like whatever, I would get sore by that night. And the next morning, super sore.
Yep.
And now I don't get sore until like 48 hours later.
Yeah. It's
super
wild,
delayed.
huh?
Yeah. I'm like, this is weird. I did a huge workout yesterday and I'm like, I really don't feel that sore. Like that's weird, you know?
Do you know from like what mechanism is that? Like, why does that happen as we age? I don't. I'm curious.
So that's a good thought. Like number one, I guess a little bit on DOMS, like delayed onset muscle soreness is what DOMS is for people that aren't familiar, but it's just like when you do a really hard workout, your muscles get sore. You're like, oh my gosh, like I'm super tight and sore. And they've done tons of studies on like, why does it come about and what's happening? And then how can you minimize or mitigate the amount of soreness or speed up the soreness recovery? Because imagine like an athlete who works out a bunch and they're like, I got practice tomorrow, but I'm like super sore and I can't get after it. Like when I practice as much as I want to, how can I like speed up this soreness process? Because I still need to work out, but I don't want to be super sore and affect my performance. So anyway, they did a bunch of studies on that. And the thought of being like, what is the actual mechanism? Before they were considering like it's breakdown, micro tearing of your muscle tissue, which has been found to not necessarily be the case.
Okay.
What they're finding is like, it's definitely stressful for your muscles. Totally. Right. But what they're finding is like maybe just a lot of metabolites that get affected within your muscle tissue. And there's this big, cause it's very stressful, not used to stress that they're not used to.
Yeah.
So there's a big influx and flood of immune cells and blood cells and healing repairing cells. And those metabolites are in there doing work after like an event of like a super intense bout of exercise.
So does that mean because it's taking longer, our body's just moving slower?
Exactly. I think there's like a slower turnover rate and metabolic rate in general.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what my understanding.
That makes a lot of sense.
That'd be my hypothesis. If that's where the root is, then that's what my thoughts would be.
Yeah. Checks out.
So then it's like, okay, how do I speed up this soreness process? Do I foam roll? Do I lacrosse ball? Do some soft tissue? Do I stretch? Do I do dynamic stretching or static prolonged stretching? Do I just rest? And if it's like a buildup of metabolites, that's what they're thinking, then blood flow might just be the general best answer, which would be like non-impact, low load, cyclical movements to create blood flow, which would be like a bike or like elliptical or swimming or something like that to flush out a lot of the metabolites and reinvigorate the blood flow throughout the muscle tissue.
So that would make sense then with the peptides, because that's like one of the major benefits is like reduce muscle soreness, reduce joint inflammation. Of course, inflammation is part of the process, delayed onset muscle soreness, right?
Which we need. Like,
Yeah.
I don't hate inflammation. We just got to keep it in check, in general. But anyway.
Yeah. So but then the peptides, it seems like it's maybe speeding up that process or alleviating a portion of that, which is, if we're healing faster, and maybe the thing I've noticed is like I still get sore sometimes, but it's just not ever as intense. Like have that intense leg day. It's always legs, right?
Yeah.
Legs always get us.
Totally.
And I'm like, oh man, that was rough. I'm gonna be hurting tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not too bad.
Not bad. Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah. Doing okay.
And then the next day it's like, whoa, okay, now I feel
yeah. No, but with the peptides, man, it's been
cool.
It's wild. Like it really just kind of like next day I feel it a little bit and then I'm good to go. Joints feel better. It's all good.
The other one that, there's this nutritionist I had been collaborating with for a little bit on like, what's the best supplements to take for performance athletes, which is usually I want to get stronger, bigger muscles. I want to have more increased power. I want to level up my strength.
Sure.
Get lean body mass and drop body fat percentage, right? It's like, how do you do that? What's the best recipe? And what she was suggesting for the supplements based on the research, the best recipe of supplements is creatine monohydrate.
Okay.
Which is like a fuel injector. Creatine kinase is the enzyme that's like, it stimulates energy within your muscle tissue and it's like a fuel injector. So more bioavailability of creatine is going to allow more muscle energy to be available.
Cool.
And you can push through things when you're fatigued and not feeling it, or you're random, like as an example, because you've been in the gym a bunch, there's days where you're like, I'm feel good.
Yeah.
I'm going to do an extra set.
Yeah.
You can facilitate that on purpose. Manufacture like every day is like the good day,
Yeah.
So creatine monohydrate, beta alanine, which is supposed to be like a buffer to help decrease the amount of muscle burn when you're at the end range of your reps, like 15 reps and you're burning.
Yeah.
Beta alanine is supposed to buffer that a little bit so you can continue at a high level even though you're reaching fatigue. And that's also been found to help with muscle soreness.
Nice.
So when I was taking that, I definitely felt a difference.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm doing my work and I'm like fatiguing out. I'm like, I can't finish, but I'm like, I'm not burning.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. There's a,
So I'm like, I can just do more sets. I'm like, I'm good, but I'm like super fatigued and I'm like really pumped. Like I'm burnt out, but I'm like not burning. It was weird.
well, there's a reason that both of those are in all the pre-workoutes, right?
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, like that's,
So, and I'll get that in a second too. And then the other one was, is just as whey protein.
yeah.
We have to have protein. Like it's the building blocks of muscle tissue. And there's been plenty of studies on like crushing protein, like triple the amount of like a high protein diet, which is 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, which would be like a high protein diet.
You're saying tripling that.
So like double, no, like maybe adding a third on top of that.
I'm trying to calculate like how many that's 600 grams of protein.
So it'd be like 2.5 or 3 grams per gram, which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college playing football, I was always like, I need to get bigger. I need more mass. I need to get stronger, right? Like I need to get bigger. You know, that was always, I need to gain weight. That was always the thing, right? Because I'm a slender, tall dude.
Yeah.
So it was like, you play football? You know, it's like, yes, I do. I'm stronger than you think, I promise. But I was like a good player. But anyway, so crushing protein, what they're suggesting in the research is like, if you crush a lots of protein, and if you're like, let's see, 220 pounds is 100 kilograms, 2 grams per kilogram, right? That's a lot of protein, right? So, I mean, imagine trying to get 200 grams of protein a day, where 40 grams of protein is like a heavy protein shake. Yeah. Right. That's only 40. Let's round it up just for using numbers. Let's say 50 grams of protein in one protein shake, or each meal, 50 grams.
5 meals.
You need 5
That's
meals
not a small piece of protein.
Of a solid amount, like a lot of protein. Yeah. So when I was like crushing work, trying to gain weight and stuff, I would be like, have you ever just always, when you're really full, it doesn't feel good.
Oh, the hardest thing. So
imagine being full all the time.
I have this conversation.
And it'd be like, I have to have another protein shake.
Oh, the worst. I have this conversation with clients all the time, like gym clients. And I was really skinny in high school. So I'm 6'4". I'm 245 right now. When I hit 6'4", I was like 178.
So we were very similar in high school.
Yeah. So take, 60, 70 pounds off my frame now. And that's what I looked like. Yeah. And so getting into college, like the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, I was like, I'm gaining weight. Yeah. I'm doing it. I had enough. Yeah. I had gotten up to like, maybe close to 200 pounds by that point. But I was eating, I saw like some bodybuilder forum. It was like 9 eggs and a sweet potato every morning for breakfast. Oof. Everybody I talked to, I'm like, it's harder to gain weight than it is to, like, if you're trying to force it and healthy weight, I'm like, it's hard. It sucks. It's way harder than dieting. But yeah, it's hard. But especially like in that, and I just did a podcast on like youth athlete development and training, like emphasis and things to focus on. Cause like comes to a point, like especially as dudes, like we're not ready to put on muscle mass until our bodies are ready. Yeah. When we hit a maturation process where we have enough hormones and we're there yet to actually put on mass, which is like, it's earlier and later for certain individuals, of course. Yeah. Like Jadavian Clowney in high school, dude was a grown man. He was a man among boys. He was. You know what I mean? Some of the people like us, maybe, like, it just takes longer, Well, especially if you're tall, like you're just, I mean, you're probably more so than me because you got some inches on me, but it's like, everybody's like, oh, did you have growth spurts? I'm like, no, I was just 2 inches a year from the time I was like 10 until I graduated high school, just bump, 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 bump. So your body can't catch up. No. Your body's putting all its resources to your bones. And exactly. And I'm like, how do you keep up with weight there? But anyway, so anybody listening, to summarize that real quick, like of youth athletes, like if you're not ready to put that on, I used to be in the same boat where I was like, I'm going to crush these proteins. I'm going to eat PB&J. I'm going to eat all this chicken. And like, I'm just going to like gorge myself, which I'm not even ready to put it on yet anyway. Yeah. So skip that, eat appropriate. Like you need to eat enough, totally. But main thing to focus on as a youth athlete before you're ready to like grow in size is just crush movement control, coordination, and your skills. Skill development, movement coordination, and movement control. Where those are the things that are the highest risk of injury for youth athletes, because it's usually moving poorly and not coordinated fashion, and then repetitively over a long period of time of thousands of reps leads to like, I don't know when my elbow hurt or my shoulder hurts. Right? I don't know when my knee hurts. Like what the heck's going on? So that's things to focus on. Yeah, I was fortunate. in high school and growing up that I was active year round. So all of the, supporting muscle structures that I wasn't training because I was not training properly, I were strong enough that I wasn't injured. But like looking back on it, same thing. I was always so obsessed with, in my mind, you see professional athletes, grown men, football players that have all these muscles. You're like, all right, muscles equals athleticism.
Yeah.
And so
Totally.
I didn't have the education and nobody was coaching me on how to train properly. So I equated bodybuilding with athletic performance. And wishing I had had somebody to tell me, like you said, one, you're not going to gain the muscle you want to gain because you're 16 years old. It's just not going to happen. And two, you should be focusing on strength and performance. And like, that's ultimately what's going to translate.
And then you're going to play if you're a good player, you're going to play more.
Yeah.
You get your skills down first.
Yeah. And so it's been, fun now that your kids are getting to that age too, where like they're getting into sports.
Oh, I can't wait,
dude. It's the best.
It's gonna be it's gonna be tough. I'm like, what kind of a dad am I gonna be? Am I gonna be the one that brings like med balls and kettlebells to the field and bands and be like, all right, here we go, we're gonna get after it, or be more chill and like you lead the way and you tell me if you're interested? I don't know.
I try to mix
I don't know
it
the
up.
answer.
I try to mix it up. It's the same thing every time we go. I'm like, all right, this is a hard training session, or is this we can mess around and just have some bonding time and try to do a little bit of both. But it's nice with my son that I recognize, like, I'm already planting the seed in his head, like, hey, like muscles don't. He's into soccer, so the star soccer players, they're not like super huge guys. They're all ripped, but like muscles don't equate to necessarily athleticism. There's some guys that look not in great shape that are still fantastic at soccer. And ultimately it comes down to how you train.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
To further that point, I think I said this in my other podcast too, but like they were in college, on my college team, football, they were weight room heroes. Like they were beasts.
Oh yeah.
They looked the best. They looked good. They were solid. They were, they were strong.
Yeah.
But they didn't play.
Yeah.
They weren't good players.
Yeah.
And they're like, that people on layman's, like GP, general population, were athletes, they would be like, why isn't that kid playing? Like, look at this monster. Look at this monster. Yeah. I was like, dude, because he sucks. He's just not a good player, like, so it doesn't equate, But that's what I'm like, if you have the skills to begin with and you're a good player and you got the IQ, you get the game, how, like, what's the goal of this game? Like my position and how can I bring value to the team and make myself more valuable? Movement control, movement coordination. I'm a skilled player. And then develop that. And then when you're ready, if you layer muscle on top of that, that's when you become like an A player.
Yeah.
But vice versa, it's not the equation.
Yeah. And all my efforts in high school to put on muscle were in vain. It's just like I was wasting my time. I should have been traded elsewhere and would have benefited a lot more from it.
So how does your son, Maddox, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
How does he respond to the training and some insights that you have?
He's super receptive. He's honestly fantastic. Like I couldn't ask for a better kid. He makes my life really easy as a dad. Like he looks up to me a lot and we have a really good relationship. And, it's a lot of pressure though. It's like, I feel like, I know that I have to always
uphold this image.
Uphold this standard that he has of me.
Yeah.
That in of itself is a lot, but it's, no, he's really receptive to everything, which is cool. You see it with him on the field with his coaches and, anytime we're working on stuff, whether it's sports or just life stuff, he's always like, okay, yeah, I get that. I understand that.
That's good.
It's great. I'm like, okay, that went a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
That's okay. Good. Cool. Let's move on. I have some mentors and stuff for entrepreneurship and also like health and fitness and all that stuff that they're like the two things that are the biggest indicators for success. And whatever goals someone wants to do, level up, ascend, whatever they're at, is humility and then delayed gratification. Yeah. So it sounds like he's got a little bit of a good sense of both of that. Humility be like, I don't know everything and I want to learn, man. I'm here to absorb and heed advice from experts, and then put in the work. And I know I'm not going to be great at whatever I'm trying right now, but it's going to pay off because it'd be unreasonable to think if I didn't practice this, I wouldn't be better. Yeah. Weeks down the road.
Yeah. And it's funny because the delayed gratification, we need some work on, right? It's like, it's a bit, what 9-year-old kid. Yeah. He wants to be like, he wants to win every game. He wants to, to score the winning goal. He wants to be the guy. It's great.
As in like, it's a different delayed gratification problem versus like, I want it now. We're like entitlement.
Yeah.
Versus competitiveness of like, I want to be good.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely different.
That's good.
Yeah. He's great.
But that's tough. Yeah. What do you do? What do you do for that? Like, I want to be really good. I'm not really like, I've had a bad game or like, I don't see the results today from my practice session, like WTF, right? What have you heard?
What's been great for me is pointing to his icons, right? So he's big into soccer. So it's the Messis and the, what's the other guy?
Ronaldo?
It's not Ronaldo. He's like, and his friends all are like, oh, Ronaldo. If you like Messi, you can't like Ronaldo. So it's, so he likes Messi.
I hate to say I'm not really a soccer guy.
Yeah, no, it's,
I didn't really play. I played a little bit of soccer growing up, but my wife, she played D1. She played soccer at UM.
Oh, nice.
So she's a soccer person for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, it's good. Yeah. But I just point to them, right? I'm like, look, do you think like Messi is so good and all these other guys that you admire that play the professional level are so good because they practice and they practice and they practice and they practice, and it's just nonstop. It's like all they think about. They've made it this singular focus of their life. That like that is the priority, and everything else kind of around that is secondary. And you can still honor and take care of those other things, but it's literally like, the girls and their generation's weird. They're like, none of them care about girlfriends at all, which is great. It's all of his friends. They're all like, oh yeah, I'm always like messing with them. Like, hey, who's your girlfriend? Who you got a crush on? Like, whatever, nobody. So, but long story short, like, sorry, got sidetracked there. Long story short, just pointing to like the people that he aspires to be like. Like, you understand how he got there, how that person got to where they are, and that seems to keep them engaged.
That's good. Well, it's interesting. So girls aren't a distraction yet. Okay, cool.
I'm sure, the hormones get going, they start hitting teenage years, they will be. But it's funny, we were talking with our friends about it, and they're like, like none of the boys, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, it's literally like none of them have a girlfriend, none of them care about girls, and all the girls, I guess, are boy crazy, which is interesting. Yeah. And but
different dynamic.
Yeah. Different from when I was growing up. That's for sure. It was the other way around.
Be the case.
We were chasing the girls.
Yeah, totally. It's like, what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. And we'll link it back to like health stuff. Just in general, because the people we see, right? And I'm very similar to you guys. Like people are paying out of pocket to come see us.
Yep.
So they have to have an open mindset. They wouldn't be there unless they wanted to absorb and like take action.
Yeah.
And with some zeal, like some enthusiasm of like, what do I need to do? Versus coming in and being like, I know exactly, what's going on and I know what I need to do. And it's like, well, then why are you still hurt? Yeah. Right. With the lack of humility, I really don't see it that often anymore. Like in this facility, but I saw it all the time on my previous clinic.
You still terrible. See it a little bit. Yeah.
But anyway, just the open-mindedness and the humility to be like, let me hear what you have to say. Like, I'm open to doing this, and like, cool, I'm on board. Like, let's do it.
Some of that I've realized too comes from, it's almost a defense mechanism, right? Like they come in and they're worried about being maybe. Like it's always the fear of like making the wrong decision. Right? So they're worried about being talked into something that maybe is like they spend all this money on and it's not beneficial.
Not gonna work. Yeah.
And I see it all the time in our practice as well. It's like, oh, well, I've done HRT in the past. And like, I know this is exactly my protocol and like, this is what I paid and this is what I want to do. Like, okay. Like I understand that, but if you want us to help you, like, let's really talk about this. Yeah. And I think if you can just, kind of get down in the dirt and relate to those people, you know what I mean? Like get down dirty with them and like, talk person to person instead of keeping it this super like transactional conversation. You can kind of work through some of that.
Yeah, totally.
But that's a good point.
The defensiveness, I guess, or just the barrier of getting more vulnerable, or just like of having legitimate conversations. I have some other thoughts on that too. One being like the people that I've worked with that were apprehensive to like dive into a plan of care. And they were like, well, how do I know I'm not just going to do all this stuff and spend all this time, money, and like it not work?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we wouldn't have all of these 5-star review, high five moments and all these people that are advocating for what we've been doing to help people. And you guys the same.
Yeah.
If what we're doing was illegitimate. So then my question would be, if we're very confident that what you have going on is X, Y, and Z, right? Like it's a rotator cuff pathology. You just have rotator cuff irritation. We got to fix your scapula. We got to fix these exercises. Don't F it up in the meantime and don't sleep on it. And I'm very confident as a healthy individual like you, that you will get better. Your body will heal itself, right? Like this is the protocol, right? We have all this evidence and also research and past case scenarios that have been successful. The exact same thing. We're super confident it's going to work, right? And they still don't really seem to dive into that. It seems to be a lack of confidence on their end that they're going to keep themselves accountable
through. Yeah.
So I'm like, so this is an accountability issue, right? Of like, this is a support issue. This is not like the interventions won't work for you and you're an anomaly.
Yeah.
This is a support issue, right? It sounds like you need support.
Yeah.
Which is what we do. Like we're going to hold your hand. I'm going to email you tomorrow. I'm going to email you next week after I see you. we're going to follow up.
It's great
to make it fail proof.
Yeah.
Cause it's not like this isn't going to work for you. You're not an anomaly. It sounds like you just need support, which is like almost a lack of belief in yourself, that you're going to be like, you're not going to follow through on yourself.
You see it all the time.
Which is what we're here for.
Yeah. We'd see it in the gym all the time too, with clients coming in that just, you could tell from day one, they're like, they're not fully committed themselves to being there and being accountable.
They don't trust themselves.
They don't trust themselves. And like, in that instance, I understand where their reservation is, but it's like, at some point you got to make the decision to do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And then we'll hold your hand.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to follow up with you. Is that cool if I do that? Like, is it cool if I follow up with you
Get
tomorrow?
permission. Yep.
And like, I want to make sure it's cool. I'm going to check in to see if you're okay. And then that you did your exercises or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
It's just an interesting, psychology game,
Yeah.
That's not my field, but like totally get it,
And I hate having to do that. It's like it's unfortunate because there are in every field, right? Your field, my field, there are places that don't do a great job. And so people don't have a good experience and they have reservations and,
right.
and it could be a completely different field. They could have never done physical therapy before. They could have never done hormone therapy before or any of the diagnostics. And they're just weary of people because there are people that don't do a great job. Yeah. And so it's like it carries over into every interaction
100%.
they have,
It's like one interaction they had in the same field.
Yeah.
That correlates and like you're going to be the same.
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable,
Yeah.
The different, and I'm sure y'all are the same. And I'm like, if we just try hard, like mentally put some effort from us as practitioners, right? Mm-hmm. Like if we just put some mental effort and critically think and try hard, we're going to be a breath of fresh air for a lot of individuals that we can actually get results for them.
Yeah.
And then number two, like what if we actually had good attitudes and weren't like on the phone, right, short and not helping people. And then we were quick to leave and not having, not being helpful.
Just put an honest effort.
Put an honest effort in and try hard.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be like, we're going to be a breath of fresh air. And people are like, this is like way different, like what the heck,
Yeah. And so to take it a step further, the thing I found as well is the other component of that is finding the people that appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
It's true.
I'm sure you've had patients that just, you do all the right things, you check all the boxes and you give them all the love and all the effort and they're just like, oh, see you later.
Cool.
Like
what?
Like, well, I thought we were good.
Yeah. I thought we just became best friends.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely not the same.
Yeah.
But that's cool. So I'm sure y'all do the same thing. Like,
we do.
But investing and like, cause I had a conversation with this guy recently. He was a patient and he didn't want to come back. And, I was asking him like, what was the problem,
Yeah.
And I was like, do you feel better? Like, are you hurting worse? He's like, no, I feel great. Like, actually I feel better than when I came in. Like the treatment I think was spot on. I got a lot of value and information and stuff. But he just wasn't ready, to dive into a plan of care yet, because he was traveling and stuff. But anyway, I was trying to convey to him like, our reputation and the results we get for people is literally what we live and die off of.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing we have.
Mm-hmm.
Like reputation's everything. It develops trust with everybody else. They're going to send word of mouth referrals, and you're not going to send your family and your mom and dad to come see us unless you yourself had a great experience and you trust us, Yeah. So I was like, our reputation and the results we get people is literally the number one thing that we live and die off of. So like if that's what we focus, like that is our main success or failure.
Yeah. It has to be. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. I mean, obviously you can have, the latest technology and the gadgets and all the stuff, but you gotta have the people skills to make people feel seen and make them feel important and, make them know you care.
Yeah.
It's amazing how far that goes.
100%.
Yeah.
So what wrapping this up, what would you want to convey to people in a summarized thing about the fountain and what y'all are going to do and what y'all do?
Yeah. So we talked about the diagnostics a little bit, right? Getting this, I guess we didn't really dive into the individual components. How much time we got?
We have like 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think if we talk about the diagnostics a little bit, like the scan, I kind of told you what it's going to do. The epigenetic testing is really cool, right? It's going to give you a snapshot of how fast you're aging today. Right. So are you aging at 1 year per year,
Right.
1.3 years
Like
per year.
0.6, like that crazy guy.
Hopefully 0.6, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if any of us are there yet, but and then what can you do to fix it? So from this test, we include an appointment with our regenerative medicine specialist, Dr. Carter, and he's going to go through the test with you, and he's going to make recommendations. And again, we're not, you've been to our facility. We're not the type to like hard sell. You got to do this, got to do this. Just like, here's the information. Here's what we're recommending. This is why you're going to really benefit from this.
Yeah.
And if you want to move forward with us, here's how you do it. If you want to go check out somewhere else, you can go do that too. But that's that component. Then we have the genetic testing, which is, I'm literally having to do 7 days of posts to get all the information onto our story and create a highlight from it. I brought my phone just so I could tell you this. So the DNA test is going to look at mood and behavior. It's going to give you reports on mood and behavior, diet and nutrition, sleep, hormones, fitness, and body type, your inflammatory profile, your cardiovascular predispositions, and your genetic longevity. Each one of those sections has like 10 different little mini reports it's giving you. So the mood and behavior, for example, is looking at your genetic predisposition for addiction, ADHD, anxiety, burnout, whether you're more prone to empathical versus logical behavior, how prone you are to irritation and frustration, procrastination, thinking patterns, and your neurotic tendencies.
That's insane.
That's
awesome.
1/7 of the report. And each one of those sections has its own little mini report. So it's like,
that's so cool.
It's super comprehensive. So we'll have, you can come in and just buy the testing, right? And do a quick, like, here's a summary report. We're going to chat with you for a few minutes. Or if you're like, hey, I really want to take a course of action into really managing my wellness, we'll have different program options where people can come in and enroll with that. And part of that will be a monthly review, again, of one of those, I think it's a total of like 60 something mini reports that we're gonna kind of dive into one or two of those every month, develop a little game plan, whether it's lifestyle, supplementation, IVs, hormones, exosomes, whatever.
Cool.
And just kind of continue to refine, because
That's
you try to deliver all that information right out of the gate. It's
overloaded.
When we first started researching all this, I'm looking through the reports. Like, it took me like 6 days just to get through like understanding what's included in the reports. It's so much information.
That's really cool.
So that's the genetic stuff. And then we have the blood work, which we're already doing. But I think the goal is like, here's all the diagnostics, right? MRI, epigenetic, genetic, blood work. And it's going to give us a really clear look at either a specific area or your comprehensive system.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can choose how aggressive or, conservative you want to be in your treatment. We're going to be able to provide a lot of the solutions, especially on the hormone and longevity side. And if there's certain things that we don't provide a solution for, we're going to have a great resource for you to go out and start really attacking that area of your health.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to dive in like all in the genetic stuff about like all the tests and stuff. When have you in again?
We should get Dr. Carter on here.
Yeah, totally.
If you'd love to. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. So he wrote a book on regenerative medicine. He's fellowship trained. And just every time I talk to him, it's like, I love picking his brain, and like he geeks out about it. So he just dumps like all this information on me, and 5 minutes in, I'm just like, my head's spinning. Like, I need to go back to biology class.
Let me go back and process all this stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool. We'll definitely have him on.
Yeah,
we'll dive into all that stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. Well, thanks, man. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Instagram @thefountain WPB, or they can, it's probably the best way, message us directly if they're not on there.
Okay.
Call the direct line, 561-320-3142.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll definitely dive in with Dr. Carter next time. And if you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to Blake at the Fountain, or us if other physical therapy needs and stuff, or other comments, questions, concerns, conflicting opinions about the podcast. We're always open to ideas, and we'll catch y'all next time.